So I literally just got onto Goodreads and saw that their like promoted blog article is Readers' Top 80 New Mysteries and Thrillers. And I don't know if I'm gonna do a vlog based on this, but I really enjoyed last year. I did a spontaneous vlog of, oh god, what was it? The places, like mysteries set in different places. And that was such a fun project. So I've been keeping my eye open for other blog articles they have that might work well as a vlog. So I have been looking out for that. And when I saw this, I was like, okay, let me film a reaction to it just in case there's stuff in here that I actually want to maybe get a little spontaneous vlog action happening around. So the 80 most popular new mysteries on Goodreads, and it's from the most popular mystery novels of the past 3 years. 80 of them in order. Okay, we've gathered below the most popular new mysteries and thrillers in recent circulation as determined by what your fellow Goodreaders have both recommended and added to their shelves. The books are ranked with the most popular up top, and each has an overall rating of 3.5 stars or better. Usually better. Okay, so I already see some interesting things in here. So let's just figure out as I go. If I see ones that I think could be interesting, we'll go with that. These first ones are already contentious. So the top one is the guest list, which I get. I do understand it. It's just not for me. The last thing he told me I don't understand, and I think it's only on here because it was a Reese's Book Club pick. I'm sorry. The Maid was also a Book of the Month Club pick, as was the guest list. But this one I actually get. I like that one. And then The Paris Apartment. Absolutely not. No. Just because Lucy Foley and she keeps tricking me. That's why I'm trying to I'm trying to avoid this book because Lucy Foley's descriptions always entice me and then I never actually enjoy them. So you know how it goes. I see that I need to take this off because I DNF'd this. Oh, but look, it's on Kindle Unlimited. You know, one of the upsides of, Amazon buying this, even though I know they are the Voldemort of booksellers, is that we do have tie-ins to Kindle Unlimited being flagged for us, so that's good. Thursday Murder Club I enjoyed. So the first one of these that I've not really heard about is The Perfect Marriage, but even just from that title, I'm pretty sure that's one I would not enjoy because it sounds like a domestic suspense. And the setup is, would you defend your husband if he were accused of killing his mistress? And I'm not interested in that as a setup. Okay, The Push. Interesting. I have heard very divided things about this one. Very, very divided things. But that makes me a little intrigued, so I'm going to put this as a possible. The Push. And then I'm not going to read another Leanne Moriarty unless I just absolutely have to, because the one I read from her, just the writing itself didn't really click for me. But, live and let live. So I don't think that one. I'm going to say that Local Woman Missing doesn't specifically appeal to me, but it has come up so many times on these kinds of lists, and I have never tried Mary Kupika. So I'm gonna put it on as another possible, that it's not that it's particularly appealing to me, but it's just its ubiquity is calling out to me. I thought The Wife Upstairs was fine. Oh, The Housemaid. Okay, maybe. I vaguely remember hearing good things about that one. The Housemaid. I would be really tickled pink if I could if I can find a way to do this from books I already own, but that may not be possible. Loved Wrong Place, Wrong Time. So good. Home Before Dark I thought was also really good. The It Girl is not my favorite from Ruth Ware, but I thought it was a solid version of what it was. One by One is my favorite from Ruth Ware. The Last Flight. I seem to remember somebody telling me they thought I would hate this. So maybe not that. The Night She... I've read one Lisa Jewell and it was fine. Oh, actually, I remember hearing about this one and I don't think it's for me. Stephen King, we know that we have a sordid history together, okay? It's not been great, let's just put it that way. The Good Sister, I would definitely put on here because I own that one already. I don't know that it's my kind of book, but I got it in, somebody sent me in like a PR package, and it's in my wrapped TBR, so I could always just go unwrap it and add it in there. The Sundown Motel. Okay, I would put that on here because I really love Simone St. James, and that particular one didn't appeal to me necessarily, but I'm down to read anything by Simone St. James just because I like her writing so much. I've heard bad things about All Good People Here, so I am not interested in that one. Here's another Simone St. James. Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen are not writing my kind of books, so I wouldn't necessarily seek that one out. Not a Happy Family. I do really enjoy The Unwanted Guest, so maybe. Her other ones have all, like the synopses for her other books they're all very domestic suspense sounding, which is not usually my jam, but I'm open to it. Daisy Darker, we all know what I thought about that. We all know what I thought about that one. Loved When No One Is Watching, though I would think of it more as horror than as a mystery thriller, but I get it. No, I mean, this sounds more like a domestic, like, small town neighborhood kind of mystery. I did enjoy Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. Finlay Donovan is killing it. I would also put this on here because people have just been so excited about this book. So many people have enjoyed it that I am intrigued. Even though it doesn't sound like my kind of book I would normally gravitate towards, I'm intrigued by it. And there's also a decent chance I'm going to have to read whatever the one that came out this year was for the Goodreads Choice Awards at the end of the year. So, like, I'm open to that one. Ton of French I've had mixed success with, so I'm not super drawn to that. I don't know that I've heard Long Bright River. Okay, Missing Girl, I don't know, that doesn't really appeal that much to me. Ooh, okay, no, I don't want to read about sexual misconduct with teenagers. When if I know that's part of it, I just would rather not. Okay, the plot, I definitely think if I do this, I would put the plot on here because I own it and because I'm intrigued by it. I think it's very divisive. I'm intrigued by the meta quality of it, and I'm down to see what my opinion about that is. Loved Razorblade Tears. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. I'm not that interested in the new Stacey Willingham. The synopsis didn't appeal to me. I've read and enjoyed one Jane Harper. Actually, let's see what this one is about. Okay, this sounds like Small Town Secrets, kind of. So you know what? I'm gonna put this on the maybe list because, maybe. I like her writing and I could see that being entertaining. Cartographers, I gave a 1 star to. I did not enjoy that one. 1.5, I think I gave it. But actually, if we're looking through here, there's like some big hits and some big misses. Like, if we're talking about my taste as it relates to the big titles, it's very all over the place. So whatever that says. His and Hers has been recommended to me a number of times. It is on Kindle Unlimited, and I kind of am curious. Like, do I just hate Alice Feeney? Maybe this would be a way for me to find out. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the list just to be a little shit. Like, just to stir the pot a little bit. Because to be fair, it is the one that specifically my patrons and just generally in my comment sections, people have recommended this to me in the past. So I am kind of curious about it. I don't know. Maybe. I really enjoyed In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I really enjoyed The Reckless Girls. I felt like that one was very camp in a fun way. Harlan Coben is somebody who I've always meant to read, and I never have. It is on Kindle Unlimited. Oh, Feral. Okay. You know what? Maybe this is my time to try a Harlan Coben, because I've read 0 of his books before. I don't know. Maybe it's time. Arsenic and Adobo. It feels a little too cozy from what I can tell. I don't know. I'm just not sure it's for me. But you know what? Let me put it on the list because it has been recommended a lot over the years. We Begin at the End. I don't know. That one's not really calling to me. I've already got One Mary Kupika on the list. The Overnight Guest I DNF'd, not because it was bad, but because it had like a lot of children being harmed on page, which is tough for me. Like, I can deal with it if it's off page or like in the past, but watching children be harmed is difficult for me to read a lot of. Things We Do in the Dark, not particularly wasn't drawn to that one. I really enjoyed The Night Swim. Karen McQuestion, The Moonlight Child, a gripping and emotional novel. I don't know. Anytime we talk about a gripping and emotional novel, I get a little sus. She sees what appears to be a little girl washing dishes late at night, but the Fleming family doesn't have a child. No. That sounds like too much children in peril. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one either. Okay, Pretty Things I actually own already. This came in a mystery box that I got from Parnassus. So for that reason, I think it should definitely be on here because I already own it. So I definitely think that one needs to be on here. I seem to remember it's about like rich girls or something, and then like they end up in an isolated house. I don't know. It sounded intriguing. So yeah. Killers of a Certain Age I am going to read, but I'm going to read it for my Trying an Author video with Deanna Rayborn, so I'm not going to pick it for this, even though I do own it. Blacktop Wasteland. I really enjoyed Razorblade Tears. Like, I loved Razorblade Tears, but it isn't necessarily my kind of book. It was more of a one-off for me, so I think that one is probably not one I would seek out. It tends to just be a little grittier than what I tend to enjoy, so I don't know. Not calling out to me. Ooh, okay, 16 Murders. That was really dark that I said, ooh, 16's murder. Oh my God, that was really dark. But that does sound like my kind of book. Okay, Dr. Gwen Moore is an expert on killers. She spent a decade treating California's most depraved predators. The Bloody Heart serial killer whose latest teen victim escaped and then identified. Local high school teacher. Defense attorney is still a traumatized father whose own son fell prey to the BH killer. Steps in to represent him. Now Gwen wants to... Okay, interesting. I'm kind of intrigued by this, not gonna lie. I'm gonna put that, not gonna lie, the good lie. We're gonna put this on the list, especially because it's on Kindle Unlimited. I'm kind of starting to envision a TBR of the ones that I own already and then ones I read on Kindle Unlimited, maybe. Night Shift I enjoyed but didn't think was as good as the first one I read from him. Missing Persons, not as much. Dolly, I love ya, but I'm just not going to read it. James Patterson, I don't think. Karen Slaughter, I already have something on my TBR from her that I would prioritize over reading this. So there we go. I love The Woman in the Library, though I do understand it's divisive. Again, Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, just not for me. Did I never put a review of Devil in the Dark Water on here? It says that I've read it, but it is on here, but it's not showing. I enjoyed The Family Game. I thought that was really good. I DNF'd A History of Wild Places. And I enjoyed The Shadows. I thought that was an effective serial killer / like potentially speculative element kind of book. The Therapist, a gripping psychological suspense and a powerful tale of a house that holds a shocking secret. Maybe. I've been intrigued by B.A. Paris. I've not read anything from them, but I'm kind of intrigued. The Therapist Who Lived There Before, what happens, but nobody wants to talk about it. I don't know, considering that I've got a lot of other good... Well, it is on Kindle Unlimited. Okay, well, for that reason, let's think about it. The Therapist. Because that is kind of what I'm starting to envision here. Is things on my TBR and then things I can get through Kindle Unlimited. So maybe. This one doesn't sound that intriguing to me. The End of Her. I've already got a Sherry Lapina on here. I'm not interested. I don't know, color me cynical, but all of these like celebrity with famous mystery author ones, I'm never that sold on that being a great idea. The Lies I Tell. I'm going to tell you, an anti-buzzword for me is lies in a mystery thriller. I just think a lot of times, I don't know, it just ends up being a twist that is not that great. What Lies in the Woods, though, by Kate Alice Marshall is a book I already own and I'm very excited to read. So for sure, I'll definitely put that one on here. Okay, here's another Kindle Unlimited one. Hiding Her Own Dark Past in Plain Sight. TV reporters determined to uncover the truth behind a gruesome murder decades after the investigation was abandoned. Oh, okay. So it sounds like they find the body of someone who was accused of a murder. It sounds like the sister of the person who died wants to team up with this reporter. Okay. I'm kind of intrigued by this. It sounds kind of different than something I've read. Who's the author of this? Charlie Donnelly. So that one I'm intrigued by, especially again, it's on Kindle Unlimited. They keep trying to make me read this and I keep being like, no, I don't think so. Okay, and then this is the end of the list. So I just got this one. I have some questions for you. And I think this is going to be a big book, so that's why I've been intrigued by it. I've really, really enjoyed Every Last Fear, one of my faves. Pretty Little Wife, I heard terrible things about, so I'm not interested in that. I love this cover, The Bandit Queens. Oh, interesting. Okay, this sounds kind of great, actually. I don't own this, but I kind of want to read this now. So I don't own this one, but I'm very intrigued by this. I want to read. Okay, so here's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's go back through here. I'm actually kind of thinking that this could be a 2-video series where the first video we read the ones that I already own and the second video being the ones that I get through Kindle Unlimited and then see which one, like which does better. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is doing like a 2-part vlog, which I haven't tried to do something like that before. But that might be kind of fun. Okay, so let me do a quick tally of what would go in what bucket. Okay, so I think that I've got our little list-a-roos here. So I found that there were 5 books that I already owned, one of which was also on Kindle Unlimited, The Good Sister, but I do own it, so I'll read it in physical form. And then I had 6 that were in KU that I flagged. But I just eliminated The Housemaid because I saw its comp titles were to The Girl on the Train and one other one that I was like, oh no, that's not for me. So yeah, okay, so we're gonna go head to head. We've got 10 books in total, and the first one is gonna be books that I already own, and then round 2 will be books from Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this shakes out. First video, which is what you guys are watching right now, is going to be TBR. And so our TBR books are The Good Sister, which I need to go unwrap from my wrapped pile. The Plot, which I actually just got very recently. Pretty Things by Janelle Brown, which has been on my TBR for a few years, so I'm excited to have a reason to read it. What Lies in the Wood, which is a recent Book of the Month Club pick from me. And then I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Mackay, which I think is going to be like a hot book this year, so I'm glad to have a reason to go ahead and read it. So that's TBR for video 1. So let's hop to it. Okay, conflicting feelings about The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. So I've got, the reason I'm feeling conflicted is because from an entertainment perspective, this is actually quite effective. I would probably give this like 3.5 to 4 stars for entertainment, with the exception of the fact that there is a dual timeline in the form of a diary that's like telling you about things that have happened in the past versus the contemporary timeline. So setup for this is twin sisters. One is named Fern, one is named Rose, and let's see, how much to tell you. Rose finds out she can't have children. Fern finds out that that's the case and decides to have a baby for Rose. So things progress from there. This is it's not totally my kind of book in the sense of it's a little bit of a domestic suspense, but what worked for me about this was Fern and her point of view, her voice, because she's neurodivergent. And I thought when I was in her perspective, going through things with her, I was pretty entertained and enjoying the book. However, the whole tension of this book is that you know one of these points of views is not telling you the truth. And either way you cut that, there ends up being some ableism in it that I found quite distracting, as well as not necessarily really enjoying Rose's point of view as much as Fern's. So I feel like I've got to knock it down for those problems. Like, I feel 3 stars feels right, because that's what I gave Miracle Creek, where I had some ableism problems there. I was more disappointed by that because it was trying to be a little bit more of like a serious book. And I think if this had been trying to be a little more serious, I would have had more problems with what I see as the ableism in here. But I'll give it a little bit of leeway and just say, you know, don't love its handling of neurodivergent characters, but I don't think it was coming, like it doesn't seem mean-spirited or like it was an oversight the way that I felt like that was in Miracle Creek. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars, and I'm a little surprised because I wouldn't normally have picked this up, but the publisher sent it to me. So I'm actually kind of glad I held on to it so that I could read it, because it was pretty entertaining. So yeah, 3 stars for the entertainment factor on this one. And I would read more from this author, I think, if there was a description or synopsis that was more appealing to me. Pretty Things by Janelle Brown. Not that Janelle Brown. When I first acquired this book, I had never, well, no, I had seen Sister Wives, but like, I wasn't in the lore the way that I am now. But not that, Janelle Brown. So Pretty Things, I'm once again pretty conflicted about this, because writing-wise, this is excellent. The writing itself is really lovely, very well observed, layered. It's good writing. If this were a character study, I could like this better. But as a mystery thriller suspense, it's just not my kind of story. So this one is about, we've got Nina, she kind of grew up in this privileged world, always the outside looking in. Her mom kind of like on her way into getting her into these spaces, into this private school. And she is now basically a professional grifter. And she is trying to pay for her mom's cancer treatments with it, but also like she's just really fucking good at it. And she has this boyfriend, Lachlan, and they are gonna try to get one over on Vanessa, who is one of her like socialite friends from her childhood, who's like super rich, social media influencer, that whole thing. So they go to this remote house called Stonehaven, so I thought that might be something that I could get more into, but just plot-wise, this is just not my kind of book. So for that reason, I feel like I have to give it 3 stars, because as a character study, I would give it like 4. As a mystery thriller, I'd give it like 2. This also has the classic issue where it's a dual timeline, or like dual perspective, I guess. And I did not like Vanessa's perspective, but really liked Nina's. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna land at a 3 with this one. But fun fact, when I was opening this, I forgot that I bought this in a Parnassus mystery box at the beginning of the pandemic, and I put the little note they sent me in here. It's a little memento from Ann Patchett, dated at the beginning of the pandemic, so I thought that was kind of a cool little discovery. So I'll hold on to that. But yeah, Pretty Things, just meh for me, because it's not my kind of book. I could see why other people like this a lot more than I did, which frankly is probably also true of The Good Sister. Like, so far, neither of these have been like my kind of book necessarily. So yeah, onwards and upwards. Okay, guys, I'm bailing on this. Where to start with this one? So this has been a very hyped book this year. You know what? I should have known better, because the places I was seeing it get hyped are not the places I would go to for a mystery or thriller recommendation. This is people who are so starved for plot from all of their literary fiction that when they read this kind of book, they think it's just like, ooh, so much is happening. Sorry, that's very cynical and mean. But I guess what I mean is this is somebody who is looking for a literary novel with a splash of mystery thriller. This is your kind of book. But I could have kept going in it. I got about 20% in, but the writing was driving me absolutely batty. It's the kind of staccato declarative sentence style with like little parenthetical asides that just always seems to me to be very self-congratulatory in its erudition, and I do not congratulate you for that. I find it quite annoying. And I should have bailed from the first page. On it, like literally even just the first sentence. Like the first sentence should have told me. Said, you've heard of her, I say. A challenge and assurance. Like literally just that annoys me so much. I don't know. And I think that this is like meant to be a critique of the true crime industrial complex, possibly. So the reason I kept going was because the first chapter I was like getting drawn in to the setup because it's a boarding school and there's like this notorious case from the 90s and our point of view character was on the scene when it happened. She was in the same theater group as the teenage girl, Talia, who was murdered. The athletics coach at this elite boarding school was eventually convicted of it, and he's this black man, so like, was it racism? I mean, probably not a bad assumption, to be honest. So those are the kinds of questions I think this book is wanting to get at, of like, what's our obsession with missing girls or with dead girls? What's our obsession with true crime? How the system is set up to be very unjust to certain groups of people. Like, I think those are the kind of big questions it's wanting to grapple with. But the writing is so self-satisfied. I can't keep going. Like, it's painful. Listening to the narration in my own head of these words is so painful and unpleasant. So anyway, all that to say, I should have known better because I don't think that this is really, my guess is that this is not really going to end up being mystery thriller. This is going to be a lit fic book that's like dabbling some kind of vague mystery plot. That's my guess, and that's just not my scene. That's not my vibe, that's not my truth. So, not for me. I'm DNFing it, and I did just peek over on Goodreads of like, are other people liking this? And it is very interesting to me that most of my mutuals are giving this like 2 or 3 stars, and then some reviewers who I recognize as being a little bit more like literary reviewers or general fiction readers are giving it higher marks. So that tentatively is supporting my hypothesis. But, you know, if you're down with some like vibiness, if you are a more lit fic kind of reader, but you're interested in something with a little bit of a thriller thrown in, then like I think that this might be a good pick for you. It's just not for me. And I am DNFing it. Happily. We have a hit, finally. You know, we've had mixed successes. There have been highs and lows so far, but this is definitely the book I've liked the best so far from this lineup. So I'm of two minds. If you read YA mystery, which is Kate Alice Marshall also writes like middle grade and YA mystery stuff, I don't think you're going to have a hard time figuring out at least one of the key, well, 2 of the key twists in here, because the setup is that we have 3 girls who go into the woods and one of them is very nearly killed. They testify and they help put away the guy who did it, and he was like a serial predator. So yay, great, happy ending, hurrah. But is that what really happened? And because the like thing from the past, this is very much a secrets from the past kind of story, which is a trope I enjoy. Because it's happening when they're kids, And because I think this author comes from that tradition, there are just some like go-to answers to the kind of setup I just described. And this definitely uses a couple of them. So yeah, so in terms of like feeling fresh or exciting in that way, not so much. So like in that respect, I would give this like a 3.5, but I really, really do like Kate Alice Marshall's writing. That's the thing that has been consistent in both of the books I've read from her now. The other one being a YA horror, and then this being an adult thriller. I just really like her authorial voice. I like the way she builds and kind of characterizes the people in her books. So on that end, it's more like a 4 for me. So I guess the takeaway for me in this is that it's maybe not the most enjoyable from a plot perspective or like my favorite kind of plot, but it was a solid plot. The plot worked for the kind of book that this is. I was engaged with it, and I ultimately really like our main character Naomi a lot, and I like the writing a lot. So yeah, this was really enjoyable. This is definitely my favorite one so far. I'm guessing that this is going to be one of the end of the year Goodreads Choice Award nominees, just because it is a Book of the Month club and I've seen a lot of people talking about it. So I'm hoping I just knocked out one of the ones on that list that I'm going to have to read at the end of the year. And yeah, I think this was really good, solid, enjoyable, would recommend, favorite so far. Oh, okay, guys, let's talk about the plot. So, I don't know what to think about this, y'all. Did I like it? No, that I know. But do I have like a weird respect for it? Yes, because this is going for it. TM, like good old Jean Humph Corlitz is going for something with this book. It's going for meta and camp, and it just didn't land with me. But I still have like a respect for it as a project. So this book is about a professor. Well, he's like an MFA adjunct guy. He had kind of like a promising career as a novelist at some point, but that's like going down the drain. And then one day he has this student who comes and pitches him the plot, the titular plot of what the student says is going to be this like game-changing, best-selling book. And as soon as he hears it, he's like, holy shit, yeah, this is going to be a bestseller. Wish I'd come up with that. Well, then a couple years go by and he finds out that the student died. So he takes that plot, writes a book based on the plot that the guy told him, and it is, like that book. Oprah Book Club, millions of copies in print, huge smash hit. And then somebody emails him saying, like, I know you stole this plot. So then it unfolds from there. We get excerpts from the book, which is called Crib, and it's him trying to figure out what to do, this accusation and what he should do. So, like I said, I did not like this because it just, I think tonally didn't end up quite clicking for me. I couldn't get into the groove of the kind of camp that this is. It just didn't, I don't know, there was something about the writing that didn't quite sit well with me, but I saw, this is where I'm like, I don't know what to do because I see what it's trying to do and I respect it, but it just didn't hit me in a way that I could really fully love it. And I don't know, it's like got a lot of foreshadowing in it, or a lot of kind of what's gonna happen in it. So for that reason, I'd seen people compare this to The Writing Retreat, and I was afraid it was because it was like the same book, and it's not. They're quite different books, I think, but the thing that I think they share is the sort of over-the-top campy element, and that in both of them you kind of know where it's going, making it more of a suspense than a thriller. So anyway, with all that being said, I don't think I can give this more than a 2 because I personally didn't really like the kind of book this is, but I do respect it. and I wouldn't necessarily warn someone away from it. It's just, yeah, it just didn't work out for me. So, you know, I tried it. And I think, yeah, this was the last one, right? Okay, well, I'll meet back up with you guys and we'll summarize where we stand from this first round of reading. Alrighty, friends, we have come to the end of round one. This round was me reading books that I already owned, so theoretically, these should be things I was gonna have a great time with. I should caveat that 2 of these books were ones that were sent to me, so I didn't specifically pick them out, but I've also been holding on to them because I thought I would like them, so we're just gonna discount that variable. So of the 5, I DNF'd 1, and then the most successful one was, I'm gonna say 4 stars, like a weak 4 stars, but 4 stars. The average rating for this stack is a 2.4 star, which would be like, I don't know, probably like a C+. Though if we exclude the DNF, it would bring it up to 3 stars, which is like a B. So I'm gonna say that this was not like my most successful round of reading, though I am glad to have gotten some books off of my TBR. I'm very glad to have read What Lies in the Woods so quickly. This was very enjoyable. I had a really good time with this one, and it does cement that Kate Alice Marshall, I think, is a writer for me, so I like that. And then even though this isn't my kind of book, I was very entertained by this. So I'm also glad to have gotten the push to read it, even though I would give it 3 stars because I do have some reservations about it, and it's just not like my favorite trope combo. I was very entertained by this, so like this I would call a success as well. Pretty Things is just, the writing was absolutely lovely. Again, just not my trope combo, so like was never gonna be a favorite for me. You know, so just not a favorite. The plot, it has some chutzpah. You know, good God, I cannot hold this the right way. I admire that it was going for something, even if it didn't end up resonating with me all that much. I appreciate it as an entity. Then I have some questions for you. It was just a big fat flop. Not for me, and I think, I don't know, I don't want to make such a broad statement. I'm tempted to say I don't think if you're typically a reader of thrillers that this is necessarily going to be one for you. And that's probably too broad, but this does feel like the kind of thriller the people who are more like general fiction or lit fic readers would enjoy more than people who are like mystery thriller people. So I don't know, that's just my take, but this one was kind of a flop. So with that being said, I'm actually hoping very much that the ones that were not on my TBR are going to do better than this, because this was kind of meh, not my strongest stack. So stay tuned for round 2 with Kindle Unlimited. I don't know when I'm going to be doing that, but you know, you'll know when I know. And yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books, if you have thoughts about them. Let me know if you've got any thoughts about the upcoming round for Kindle Unlimited. And yeah, I think that will do it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!